Hello Facebook ads people, I'm Konstantinos, and today we are going to talk about broad and interest targeting. Which one is the best? So, if you're watching this channel, most probably you know that we like broad targeting. We used to like broad targeting before the iOS 14.5 changes, that nobody was using it and they were mocking us for using it, and now everybody's using it because now it's the mainstream. So, some things, a little bit of context. First of all, we have interest targeting, we have lookalikes, and then we have broad targeting. Along that, we have different strategies that we show in this channel, but we're not here to discuss strategies today. We're here to discuss theory, interest and broad targeting, and somewhere between is the lookalike audiences. So when you're having a new pixel or a new API, whatever we may call that, we are having not a lot of data. Our pixel is a baby. It doesn't understand the ideal avatar client. Now we call them datasets. I guess we cannot call it pixel anymore. Pixel is going to be removed, by the way, soon, most probably at the end of the year. So we're going to be stay only with the API. And the thing is that when you're starting, you cannot just use immediately broad targeting. It's super risky. It's not like you can go and you can just advertise in a broad audience of 200 million people in the United States. Maybe you can do it in smaller countries when you have potential reach of 4 or 5 million people, where I think it's much better when you're doing that, because instead of using an interest which is going to give you 200k, 300k, you can go with an audience of 4 million or 5 million in small countries like Greece, Switzerland, or whatever that may be, Belgium. Okay, so the situation is this. Everybody's talking about broad targeting, but they tend to forget the people that they start advertising now. So if we analyze it a little bit, broad targeting is the ultimate goal of each ad account. This is where you want to go. You want to be able to just do broad targeting, use my crazy method or use Advantage Plus or whatever that may be, and have sales there because your pixel is strong enough to find the initial sales that they are going to help you form a hot pocket, and you're going to continue optimizing after that. And yes, as the time passes by, the Facebook platform is becoming more and more powerful. So what is happening is that you can start doing broad targeting a little bit earlier from what you could do it before, because the Facebook algorithm is more powerful now and it understands better who it has to target and give you the low-hanging fruits at the start so that you can optimize your campaign. After that point, it's up to your pixel how strong it is to continue, but I'm talking about initial sales over here. The algorithm can give you those. The more your pixel and the ad account is trained, the better, but there are some ad accounts that you start immediately and you try broad targeting and it's working. But let's talk a little bit about it. Interests are the keywords that we are using. It's completely different when you are targeting for a product inside the fishing niche, for example, to use fishing tackle or fishing rod as an interest, instead of doing broad targeting where Facebook has to find people that they like fishing without any keywords and it has to locate them. Of course, Facebook algorithm is super sophisticated and it can do it, but it doesn't mean that it's going to do it in all of the ad accounts, especially if we have them with untrained pixels. So, you're new in the game and you're starting right now. What you should do? You should try broad targeting. You should go immediately and you should try broad targeting. If it's working, perfect. You're going to start building your campaigns with broad targeting, and you're going to try to do the best that we can with optimization and all of this kind of stuff. And yes, in new ad accounts, my crazy method and other methods that I have, like stack lookalikes or whatever, after you have some data, they're going to help you more. But eventually, you're going to end up doing just a normal campaign, Advantage Plus with broad targeting, and it's going to work. And all of these different strategies that we have in the channel, they're going to help you reach your goal, which your goal is to basically, whenever you do one ad set with broad targeting, it has to work no matter what, because your pixel and your ad account is trained that well in order to do that. Let's say that you're starting right now and you're not having success with broad targeting. Should you just stop advertising? No, you can do interest targeting and you can try different interests in order for you to start getting data, then move to lookalike audiences, then move to stack lookalike audiences, and then move to broad targeting eventually. The ultimate goal is again to reach to the broad targeting, because this is where you're going to be able to scale. But if you don't have the option of using it immediately, or if you're doing Advantage Plus campaigns in a new ad account that's not working, then that means that maybe you should use the more traditional ways and interest targeting. Eventually, maybe in 10 years or maybe much earlier, we're going to have Facebook working only with broad targeting, and we're going to just focus in creative. But this is not the case right now. So we need to have other options like interest or whatever in order to help us kickstart and start getting some data until we reach the point of broad targeting. Now, I don't want to forget the possibility of you not running at the United States, because most of the times we tend to talk about all of the strategies in terms of what we would do in the United States. In the United States, we have a huge audience, or in other big countries like United Kingdom, we have huge audiences, and if you use broad targeting over there, it's completely different from using broad targeting in a smaller country like Greece, Switzerland, or Belgium. Over there, the opposite might occur. For example, if you start running ads with an interest, maybe the interest is going to be so small that you're going to target 200k people, and maybe this is going to be problematic for you. On the other hand, if you use broad targeting over there, maybe it's going to work. A local area. If you're running ads for a local area, for example, I have my crazy method, broad targeting in a local area over there. As you can understand, if you're going to use an interest, this is a limiting factor for you. So you have to use a broad targeting in order for you to be able to have some decent results, because if you use an interest in a local area, for example in Denver, it's going to limit your potential reach so much that it's going to be almost impossible for you to run any ads. So there is not good or bad setting, or broad targeting is better than interest. Okay, maybe we can say that broad targeting at the end game is always better than interest, but at the end of the day, you need to understand that these are different settings. I try to explain in this video how you should use broad targeting or interest if you're new. If your ad account is fairly new, you should try it, and if it doesn't work, go to interest and then lookalikes and then end up to broad targeting. If you have a trained pixel and all of that, you should go and use a lot of broad targeting. And of course, I truly believe that you should use also stacked lookalikes with my method because it's helping a lot. To differentiate a little bit from the broad targeting, but still it's a very big fairly audience, because basically we're stacking lookalikes so that we can have a very big audience, not just one lookalike. There are specific niches like the Christian niche, for example, that we mention a lot of times in my videos over here, that you cannot use any interest because simply they have been removed. Facebook has removed a lot of interest the previous year, so right now we cannot use every interest that we might want to. Again, you go through the process of using broad targeting, and if it doesn't work, you go through the process of using one example. For example, is Justin Bieber. For example, when you use Justin Bieber, you might reach more Christians because Justin Bieber has expressed that he believes in God, and a lot of people that they follow him also for that. So you try to find interests that are going to be close to maybe influencers that they are that they are in the niche that you want, or maybe with other ways. Okay, that being said, you start again with interests that are going to be more broad, for example, and you move your way up to lookalikes and then to broad targeting, where if you pass this level and you are in a niche that it cannot be targeted with interests, it's going to be very good for you, because you're going to end up having very good CPMs. Because if you manage to reach the point that you are having broad targeting in a niche that doesn't have any interest, that means that you are going to be part of a very closed club of different businesses that are in the same niche, but not a lot of people can enter because they need to spend a lot of money in order to train their pixel about this niche. And you don't have all of these people that they are dropshippers or whatever, that they start doing ads, like for example the dog niche, okay? The dog niche is being heavily advertised from people that they start now or people that they have established businesses. The Christian niche, on the other hand, is not being advertised a lot because we have only some people that they have managed to reach to the point that they are targeting with broad and it's working, and they have lower CPMs, like I have seen $5 or $6 CPM over there, which is crazy for United States. And if you go on the dog niche, for example, you might see 20, 30, 40, depending on how untrained your pixel is. It's also important to understand that the interests are very important if you can target a niche, but you can target with other ways. But even if you cannot, just keep into your mind that maybe if you go and you do it consistently for 1 or 2 years, you are going to be able to reach the point that you're going to be part of a very closed community, that they have trained pixels and not a lot of new entry e-commerce stores owners can enter to these special clubs. So there is no better or worse. Maybe at the end game broad targeting is better. I hope that you like this video. It's a little bit theory so that we can know what we do. Don't forget that if you want to learn more, you can check my book and my free course and my website, of course. And until we meet again, guys, be creative and be consistent.